Your environment and the clutter that is in your environment is really going to affect how you feel. And if it's your work environment, it's going to really affect your work and how you feel about going into that space. This is something that I really have to look at because I work from home. And so clutter can be not just my clutter, it can be the clutter of my son as well, and the clutter of other things that are coming into the house that I have less control over. And so to keep on going into my office and seeing that perhaps the desks needs tidying, things need putting away or organizing, I constantly need to be on top of that. And if I find that I'm not on top of it, I can feel my energy going down as I walk into my office. So, hi, I'm Lucy, Holistic Peak Performance Coach, and this is going to be a three-part series because there are three different types of environment. So, as you worked out, the first one is your physical environment. Can you remember a time where something was really clear, really tidy? Perhaps it was a fresh start, you just moved home, or you'd just gone into your office space, and everything had a place, it was in its place, it was all in order, all the folders were lined up in alphabetical order, everything was clean and tidy and dust-free, and it looked gorgeous. And when you walked into that space, your spirits lifted higher. Can you remember that time? Now, I want you to think about where your workspace is now. Does it still feel like that? Does it still feel really good to work in your workspace and to walk through that door and to look around and think, yeah, this looks amazing. I'm ready to go. So here are a few things that you can do if it's not feeling like it's ready to go. The very first thing is to get everything that is paperwork all into one pile. All the files into another area. You might want to put them into a box to start with. So you might have a box full of papers, a box full of files, and a box full of stuff that isn't paperwork and isn't files. And then take the time to go through each box, pick it up. So you've got a piece of paper, pick it up, read it. Do you need it? Do you need to keep it? No. Then you delete it. If it's something that you just need to keep because you need to go back and look at it. So it's one of those things you don't always need, but you need to go back and it's a reference. So perhaps that needs to go in a reference file. But if you've got reference papers, perhaps start a pile just for reference. And if it's something that needs to be done right now, put it in your inbox. So go through all of those papers, and it's going to take time, but it's also going to save you a lot of energy and cognitive load. So go through all of those. With the files, something for I'm doing personally at the moment is going through each file and doing the exact same thing. Do I need this? Is it out of date? Could I make it into one document, like 5 pages? Could I make them into one document and just take the bullet points, the highlights? And then I'm clearing complete files because I don't need that stuff. And it feels so good because now I've got free files to be able to use for new things. And perhaps it's for the stuff that I went through with the paperwork. And then the odds and ends like photos and candles and staplers and whatever can get cleaned up, left in the office if that's the best place for them, or moved out of the office. It's best to have it so that it is very calm in your office. Maybe have a plant, maybe have one picture, but not too much that's going to grab your attention. And then once you've got all of that sorted, just make sure it's really nice and clean and your workspace is somewhere that you really want to walk into. So that's the office, and that might be the only place in your house that you have control over, right? Because the rest of the home, you've got children, you've got your spouse, or cats and dogs, and it's going to get a bit messy. But even with those rooms, if you can do as much as you can when you have the time, and it's also good to make the time to tackle just one room at a time. And sometimes a whole room can still feel overwhelming and too much. So just tackle one part of the room. Maybe it's a bookshelf. Maybe it's a chest. Maybe it is cupboards. And just tackle one cupboard at a time. And that way you can chunk it down into bite size and it's so much easier. And then when you go and walk into your sitting room or your dining room, it feels like a space that you want to relax in. So if you can, have your office space separate from your relaxing space. Again, this is good for your mind to know this is where I work, this is where I relax, rather than working in your relaxing space or trying to relax in your workspace. It's a bit like going to bed and staying awake. When you go to bed, you're doing one of two things, and one of those is sleeping. It's not just lying awake and doing nothing. So have that space for that certain thing, whether it's work or whether it's relaxing. And again, that way you know what you're doing in that space and it feels good to be in that space. So I hope this helps you. There'll be another video coming up on screen, so I'll see you over there. It could be another one on environment, but remember, if you want to really double down on environment, there will be 2 more videos coming up. So see you soon. Take care.